What is up, my Lorcana goons? Welcome to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin, and we're gonna go over some Lorcana stuff today. There's been a bunch of card reveals, and I have a couple to go over right here. But before I get into that, I just want to say be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscription for Lorcana Goons, and check out our Discord. The link is in the description below. And a big thank you to everybody who's been liking, commenting, and subscribing. But let's talk about some new Lorcana cards, shall we? Because we have some interesting ones, starting with Jiminy Cricket. Now, this is a really awesome card in my opinion, not just in terms of the artwork because it's very crisp and I just like Jiminy Cricket as a character, but the ability is pretty nice too. So let's get into this. It's a 2 ink character. It has 1 strength, 2 willpower, and 1 lore shard. He's gonna have evasive, and he's gonna have an ability that says that still small voice. When you play this character, if you have a character named Pinocchio in play, you may draw a card. Flavor text says, "Say, that's pretty swell." Pretty cool card, right? Any card in Lorcana right now that draws you cards is always a plus in my opinion. Any card in Lorcana with evasive in the early game is very rare right now in my opinion. So that's kind of cool too. They gave Jiminy Cricket multiple plus sides, right? So he's inkable, he has evasive for an early game character, and he gives you an ability to possibly draw a card. Now, I think drawing cards in Lorcana is very powerful. What's cool about Jiminy Cricket is that you can play Jiminy Cricket to draw a card. Obviously, if you don't have that Pinocchio in play and you have Jiminy Cricket on turn 2, you can still play him without drawing that card, and while it may not net you that +1, you're still getting an evasive character with 1 strength and 2 willpower, which is still slightly better than, let's say, a Pascal, right? Pascal is a amethyst card that has evasive as a 1 ink character, but he also has a stipulation where he only has evasive if you have another character in play, right? So this is already kind of almost as good as Pascal just in terms of basic effect and stats, because you have evasive on Jiminy Cricket forever. There's no stipulation on it. So even as a turn 2 character, a 2 ink character with evasive and 2 willpower is pretty nice. So this won't get eaten up by a Tinkerbell play. This does loose to fire the cannons, but what 2 ink character doesn't loose to fire the cannons nowadays? But all in all, pretty cool character. I'm very excited to see some Pinocchio decks that are going to be in the meta. I'm sure the Pinocchio cards seem pretty aggressive, which is pretty cool, and this adds to that play style, right? Because if you're gonna curve some aggro plays, that is some heavy board presence in the early game, because you have an evasive character you got to deal with, and I believe the new Pinocchio has 3 lore shards on it that you got to deal with. And on top of that, in the later game, as you progress your game state in an aggro deck, the Pinocchio characters are low cost, so you can probably play a Pinocchio character and Jiminy Cricket back to back and still draw a card. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that difficult, and there's multiple Pinocchio characters, so you can flood your board with a couple different Pinocchio characters, and the odds of one of them surviving by the time you play Jiminy Cricket to draw a card is pretty cool. So it's kind of like the Maleficent Sorceress that draws a card on play, but it is a 2 inkable instead, and it has an evasive. So very good in aggro style decks, right, that are going to be playing Pinocchio. But a cool combo card in my opinion. Another Amethyst combo card that we got revealed is going to be Peter Pan's Shadow, Not Sewn On. So this is going to be a 4 ink uninkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower. This character has evasive, he has rush as well, and it has an ability called Tiptoe. Your other characters with rush gain evasive, and he quests for 2 lore. That's pretty hefty in my opinion. It is a super rare, so a super rare card in chapter 2 that has multiple abilities again. Wow, pretty cool. It's almost like playing Jetsam and Flotsam all in one as a card, right? Because you carry this Peter Pan carries both evasive and rush, and the extra ability to give evasive to any rush style characters you already have or you're gonna have after you play this character is gonna be pretty cool, because it's gonna synergize with stuff like Maui or Zeus. Zeus being an amethyst card that gains its challenger +4, right? Oftentimes when you use Zeus, you challenge a character, and then your Zeus is prone to be challenged next turn by your opponent, and because Zeus doesn't have any strength, your opponent can freely get rid of it, right? What's cool about this scenario is if you play Zeus after the Peter Pan, for example, your Zeus will have evasive. So now your Zeus challenged for an extra +4 strength, and on the opponent's turn, it's hard to get around because unless they have evasive characters or some removal, they can't just clear your Zeus for free like they used to, right? Another nice curve combo you can do is obviously playing turn 4 Peter Pan Shadow, and then turn 5 you play Maui. You smack a character with Maui because he has a very big body, and he usually survives almost any challenge he makes, right? And most of the time on the opponent's turn, they'll try and trade a little character into the Maui to finish him off. However, if your Maui has evasive, that makes it a lot harder to do. Pretty high potential in my opinion for maybe some aggro style decks, or even just a way to control the board in Ruby Amethyst. Overall, I think it is a card that has some high potential. I can't think of every card off the top of my head right now that has Rush, but just giving Rush characters evasive seems pretty cool, because there are some Rush characters in Lorcana that have like high lore shards as well, like Zeus for example. He quests for 2. Overall, this card is pretty nice regardless of the amount of abilities he has. He still quests for 2 lore, and he's an evasive character, so that in itself is already threatening, and then the extra ability to give your Rush characters is just an extra cherry on top, right? Him being an uninkable, I guess, balances that out, but in decks like Ruby Amethyst, it almost doesn't matter in my opinion. But very interesting card. Very curious to see what this is going to do. We have a princess reveal now. This is Raya, Leader of Heart. Pretty cool. It's going to be a Ruby card, a 6 ink inkable, 5 strength, 3 willpower character. It's a shift 4 with an ability that says Champion of Kumandra. Whenever this character challenges a damaged character, she takes no damage from the challenge, and you can quest for 2. Pretty interesting. It's a super rare, and now that I read it again after reading it in the morning, it just seems a little better than what I first thought. It's a shiftable princess, which is cool because we got another Raya revealed the other day. It has a 3 ink character, and then we also have a Raya with Rush, right? So there's multiple Rayas you have that you can play to shift from this, which is pretty cool. It honestly makes the 3 ink Raya a little better in my opinion too. Playing that in a deck seems like it'll have some synergy. Obviously it's a princess, so it gets that extra princess synergy with certain cards like Moana. We have another character in Ruby that also synergizes with the damaged character situation. So like if you are dealing with the damaged characters, you're gonna get a plus side. The only issue in my opinion is that this card has very low willpower, so that stipulation for only being able to survive a challenge against a damaged character is a little bit specific. It does require like a bit of a combo to be used, right? Her having such low willpower just kind of makes me feel like even though it does have that ability to survive a challenge on the opponent's turn, they're going to be able to eliminate this without really worrying too much, which just seems like a big neg for you because you've invested a lot, right? You invested a 3 ink Raya, and then you invest the 6 ink character to shift on top. But I do like that it is a shift 4 because on a good like tempo turn, like this can sway you the game, right? If there's a damaged character on the opponent's turn on turn 3, like let's say an Aerial Spectacular Singer or something like that, this is pretty cool to shift from because then you can just survive that battle and take control of that board state. But like I said, 3 willpower, it just doesn't seem like the hardest thing to get around on turn 4, right? Because you're going to be passing the turn back to your opponent, and there's a lot of cards that get rid of this, like Smash, you know, even little things like Grab Your Swords Tinkerbell, which is very common on turn 4. So it's a card that might see some play in chapter 2 because it is a princess and does have synergy, but it also does feel more like a starter deck kind of card, and not the card that I think I'm gonna want to see in my packs if I'm blessed enough to get my hands on the Rise of the Floodborn, because it is looking very hard to acquire some of these cards, right? But we will go on to our next card. We have Baloo. Finally, we have some characters from the Jungle Book. This is a 3 ink inkable card, Ruby, and it's going to be a 4 strength, 3 willpower vanilla card, right? It quests for 1 lore. This is basically the Ruby version of Horus from, you know, chapter 1 as an emerald, and it's very similar to cards like Wardrobe, with just the stats swapped a little bit. It's nothing too special. It's probably a card that's going to be better in draft rather than better in the current metagame and constructed, but it does seem like we, you know, might have to use this card in Ruby sometimes. I feel like if this was in current Ruby Amethyst, I would probably play it because, you know, it's not a terrible 3-drop, but is it necessary? Maybe not, but it has some nice flavored text. Let's check it out. It says, "The bees hum in the air, filling it with the scent of honey." All right, so very interested to see what the rest of the Jungle Book archetype has in store for us. Maybe we'll see some more Baloo characters, and maybe we'll see a Floodborne Baloo. You guys let me know what you guys are excited for. But our last reveal for now, because I'm pretty sure before I even get to upload this video, there's going to be another reveal. Anyways, we have Rapunzel Sunshine. This is going to be a 2 ink amber character. It has 1 strength, 4 willpower with an ability called Magic Hair. You can exert this card, remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character. The flavor text reads, "We can all make the world a little brighter in our own way." Quest for 1 lore as well. I like that this card has a bunch of lanterns in the back. We all know that Lantern is one of the best cards in Amber right now. Well, at least in the current meta, I think Lantern is very powerful. It'll probably see some meta play in Chapter 2 as well. But let's go ahead and get into this card. What are the goods and the bads of this card, right? This is another card that has damage removal synergy in Amber, but this has a body. So right now, we don't have that many cards that heal your willpower in Amber, believe it or not. I feel like it's only really Rapunzel and Cinderella, and then like a Hakuna Matata every now and then. But we've seen cards like Healing Glow and Dingo Hopper not make an impact in the meta just because they're a little too slow. What's cool about Rapunzel Sunshine is that you can take advantage of that concept of healing your own characters, but you can also develop your board state by playing a character, right? It's a little slower than a card like Healing Glow or Dingo Hopper, but in my opinion, it is a little better because you have a body on the board. On top of that, you can use the new Rapunzel to shift on top of this Rapunzel after you get your ink up there, which is pretty cool because then you could potentially start drawing cards and gaining back that advantage, right? So not only do you get to draw cards potentially from the new Rapunzel, but if you combo off and have this Rapunzel on board with her, or you shift from this Rapunzel, there's a lot of potential to be able to make your characters survive longer by healing them for 2 every time. Healing for 2 is honestly pretty good in my opinion, especially for a 2 ink character, and she's inkable. A lot of plus sides there. And I'm pretty sure in the future Amber decks, there's going to be certain ratios you play of all 3 Rapunzels. It'll probably be like 2 of these, 4 of the legendary Rapunzel, and then like 2 of the shiftable Rapunzel, just because they're all good in their own way. And I think the fact that they all have low strength, high willpower makes them very threatening, because the whole point of Lorcana is to quest for the 20 lore and to win, right? You're not really trying to use your strength to deal damage to an opponent like in other games, right? So in other games, big boss characters with super high strength usually dominate because they're able to deal damage to the opponent. Whereas in this game, it's really about the amount of lore you can put on the board, as well as the amount of characters that can survive to be able to quest for that lore. So cards like Rapunzel are very powerful because they have such high willpower, and they combo off with the ability to heal your characters, right? Characters with such high willpower are normally going to survive a lot of combo cards like Grab Your Swords, Fire the Cannons, Double Grab Your Swords, Tinkerbell. Because of that, it makes it much better of a win condition to be able to play a lot of characters like this. So I'm very excited for the future of Amber, the future of Princess decks, because it's a lot of the Amber and Princess decks and cards that have this kind of low strength, high willpower synergy. So I am very excited to see what's going to happen with that. Amber being one of my favorite colors, I do believe Amber is just the best color because they always keep getting the best cards, right? But you guys let me know what you think of this card. Let me know if you have any combos that you've been thinking of for any of the other cards we've talked about, or any other future cards. So, and just like I said, we got another reveal. As I was making this video, they went ahead and revealed this Hercules Divine Hero on Lorcana Twitter. Check it out, guys. It is a 6 ink inkable, 6 strength, 3 willpower shift Hercules character. This dude is a Floodborne, hero, prince, and deity. Pretty cool. He has 4 different, I guess, types you would call it. He quests for 2, and he has resist +2. So damage dealt to this character is reduced by 2, kind of making him almost a 6/5, but even just kind of better in some cases, right? He has a flavor text that says, "A good guy to have around when something wrecks your ink works." Interesting references to the Lorcana universe. Ink works, huh, you say. It's a rare card, so I wonder if this is going to be in the starter decks, or this is going to be something you pull. All in all, it seems like a decent 6-drop character. I like that you can shift into it. We have the 3 ink Hercules that is a steel card with body card. kind of cool because you can curve into this Hercules the turn after if you play that one, making this one really impactful actually. However, outside of shifting, I don't know if this is going to be the best card to play. You know what I mean? As a 6 ink character, there's a couple other 6 ink characters I'd much rather be playing with nicer stats in even a steel variation of a deck, right? Like maybe Kronk with a that has a 6 willpower, but does only quest for 1. So that questing for 2 lore does kind of get you there. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this Hercules card, guys. I think it's pretty nice. All in all, this card might see some play, it might not see some play, but it seems like a character that can definitely clear your board. So I would look out for this in a draft pool maybe if you can combo it off with your other Hercules, or even when your opponent plays it, make sure to read their card and remember that it has resist +2, so it is going to be kind of sticky. Our next card that we have for you today that was just revealed by Musha Report, so shout out Musha Report. It's going to be Weight Set. This is an inkable item that costs 3, and it has an ability that says whenever you play a character with 4 strength or more, you may draw a card by paying 1 ink. It even has flavor text. It says personally endorsed by Hercules himself. Love to see it. Hercules gang. Now, especially with this like new Hercules, right, that we just got announced, we definitely are going to see some synergy with this card, right? So now it does make sense to be able to want to play that Hercules, right? Because every time I play a beefy character, I'm going to draw a card. This is pretty cool. It's more draw power for steel. Did steel need more draw power? I'm not sure. I feel like steel has a lot of draw power, but more draw power for steel. It is a very specific stipulation, unfortunately, and it does cost an extra ink every time you want to draw. However, it doesn't seem like the hardest condition to pull off. 4 strength is pretty reasonable in Lorcana right now, I think. And you can also combo this off with characters that have Reckless, which normally already have high strength. Usually reckless characters are going to carry crazier stats because they cannot quest and they have to attack every time. So a card like this might combo off with reckless characters because at the end of the day, every time you play one of them, you're going to be able to draw a card. So instead of having to play something that's going to cost like 5 or 6 ink like that Hercules, maybe you can pay something a little lower cost that has reckless so you can generate that draw power a little earlier, right? This card also stacks, right? So if you have multiple of the weight set on the field and you play a character that meets the requirement, you'll be able to draw 2 cards, 3 cards, however many cards you have of weight set on the field. So it's pretty cool because it is stackable, and if you want to build a very powerful deck with characters with a lot of strength, you can definitely take advantage of that now and start drawing cards. In general though, did steel need more draw power? I think every deck can use more draw power in Lorcana right now, to be honest. But that's it for weight set. Let me know if you guys can think of any characters that can combo off with weight set, and we're gonna get onto our next card, which is going to be a legendary Sapphire. We have Alice, Growing Girl. Check this out, guys. Legendary reveal. This is going to be a 3 inkable character with a 1 strength, 4 willpower, Dreamborn hero. Alice is going to have 2 effects, actually. First effect is good advice. Your other characters gain support. Okay, and then the second ability is going to be what did I do? While this character has 10 strength or more, she gets +4 lore shards. So if you give Alice, you bump her up all the way to 10 strength, she's going to be able to quest for 5 lore, similar to the way that Belle can quest for 5 lore. Pretty nice, pretty nice. I have to do say so myself. Now, overall, would you play this in your current Sapphire list? I want to hear your guys' opinions. I think this card is pretty good. Just comboing this off with something like the Hercules we just saw, and Phil on the field, that means Alice will already have 5 lore to quest on, right? Which is pretty crazy. Biggest difference between this and Belle is that once you get to 10 ink and you play Belle on the field, Belle's always going to have the 5 lore. However, with Alice, if you bump her strength up using support characters, by the next turn her strength is going to go back down all the way to 1, right? But the fact that you give all of your character support is pretty wild. That is pretty impactful in my opinion. In a deck with like zoo characters or like Rockstar Stitch kind of decks, you know, being able to give all your little guys support might be pretty strong, especially if you're playing 2 to 3 strength characters. I feel like this can combo off pretty well. And then as the game progresses, when you have really high ink characters like Haiti or Maleficent, or even just just other characters from other colors if you're comboing it off, you know, with Surfer Stitch or something like that. Being able to get support off of all of them is kind of a big deal, right? And I do believe that if you use multiple supports, you can target the same character, so you can just pump up cards, your whole field with Alice on board. So I think it's going to be pretty powerful. I'm glad that they made Alice a legendary. Seems like a pretty fitting rarity for a card that has this kind of effect, right? What do you guys think? Are you going to be playing this in your Sapphire decks? I really want to know. I do believe this is the lowest cost legendary that we've had so far in Lorcana history. It is barely the second chapter, right? But interesting to see that we already have a 3-ink legendary character. I also like how Sapphire is still going along with this theme where you're able to give your other characters abilities, kind of like the way Aurora gave everybody Ward, or the way Cogsworth gives your other characters Resist, right? She even has the stats of a princess where she has a low strength and high willpower. Being a 1/4 character is pretty cool in Lorcana because, like I was saying earlier, characters with high willpower are a lot more threatening in the game state because they have a higher chance of staying on the board. And with an effect like Alice's, you definitely want to keep her on board as long as possible so you can get her all the way up to 10 strength, because this becomes a win condition, an extra win condition than Belle. And playing her on Belle is already hard as it is sometimes. Holy moly, we got a double whammy here as I was finishing up this video. More cards are revealed, guys. We have 2 cards together here. This is Nick Wilde, the Wily Fox, and Popsicle. It's going to be an item that combos with Nick Wilde. So Nick Wilde is a 4-ink inkable character, 2 strength, 4 willpower. It has an effect called the Hustle. When you play this character, you may return an item card named Popsicle from your discard to your hand. The flavor text is, "It's criminal how good these things taste." And he has 2 lore shards, so you can quest for 2. So right off the bat, good stats on Nick Wilde, a 4/2/4 that quests for 2, and it's inkable is always nice. And in addition to that, you can generate a +1 almost if by adding a Popsicle from the discard pile to your hand. Popsicle's effect reading, it's a 1-ink item, it's inkable, and it has an ability that says Jumbo Pop. When you play this item, you may draw a card. That's pretty nice. And then another one that says, that's Redwood. Banish this item, remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character. That is super beneficial for you. Not only is it draw power, but it has an ability to heal a character. And when you combo it off with Nick Wilde later on in the game, you can add it back and draw another card. That's pretty good in my opinion. I like Sapphire. I like where Sapphire is going in Chapter 2. Other than me noticing that this is just 2 strong cards together, I can't really think of any crazy drawbacks. Maybe drawing them like out of synergy might not be the best, but overall, Popsicle seems like a decent card to play in a Sapphire deck, especially in budget Sapphire decks. We have some decent draw power and you can get it back with Nick Wilde. So overall, not bad, not bad. But you guys let me know what you think of this card. Let me know if you have any combos that you've been thinking of for any of the other cards we've talked about or any other future cards. And if you like this content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Lorcana Goons. My name is Kevin, and we will see you goons next time.